has. And we were kind of conversating off the air a little bit here, and I hadn't realized that I hadn't had you on this show since all the Buckeye news has happened. I mean, pretty much rebuilt their roster and some very important spots, kept some very important players as well. But we were texting earlier in the day, and we decided, before we jump into the Buckeyes, I talked about being a number one team, possibly a number one seed in the 12-team playoff next season. But man, it looks like a 2026. There's been conversation. We have not even got the 12-team playoff on the field. We haven't even played a game in the regular season for the 12-team playoff. There's already conversations in 2026 going to a 14-team playoff. Now, I know we have talked before. I know you are not for the playoff expansion, but you hear 14-team playoff, what comes to mind?
College football is trying to be like the NFL. I think it's really, really weird that they're thinking about going down this road, that they want to go to a 14-team playoff before you even start the 12-team playoff. If that's the case, why didn't you make it a 14-team playoff now? What are we waiting 2 years for? Because the contract's up? You guys have already found a way to implement a new system in the current contract. So why wait a couple years for a new contract? It doesn't make any sense at all. But this is the sport we live in. Like, I do believe money is influencing the conversations that these people are having. And it's not just them making more money. It's everybody making more money. I saw in a report, and I believe there was Chris Vanini of The Athletic. He reported on it. Heather Dinich reported on it. I believe Pete Thamel reported on it. They're talking about, hey, the Big Ten and SEC in the 14-team playoff model, they will get 3 teams apiece in the new playoff. So 3 and 3, that's 6. And then 2 and 2 would be 2 for the Big 12, 2 for the ACC, 1 for the Group of 5, and then 3 at-large bids. What are we waiting for? Nothing's going to change, Phillip, between now and then for you to say, oh, down the road, the Big Ten and SEC deserve more people in the playoff in a couple years than they do now. No. Every single year, except for this past year, the Pac-12 was better than the Big Ten. But 9 times out of 10, the Big Ten is the second best conference in the country. The SEC is the first. Hands down, no questions asked. So what are we waiting for? I'm not a fan of going to 12 or 14 or 18. Phillip, in 30 years, we could have a 60. Well, actually, that might be a little bit too far projecting. In 15 years, we could have a 64-team playoff bracket because the powers that be want to make more money. You can't tell me 64 teams makes the sport better, but it makes them more money.
I mean, even look at basketball. I mean, there's discussions on making that 96 teams.
So stupid.
I mean, there comes a point now. Why do you even play the regular season?
Yes.
I mean, at that point, because it still needs to be hard to make a playoff. Now, look, I think at 12, there is still some difficulty. There's going to be good teams that do not make it. We'll probably still end up with the same teams we always end up with in the Final Four and the national championship game, but we will get some good games on there. Now, I was not against 12, but I wasn't for 12 right now.
Yeah.
I think let's add 4 more teams. At the time, my thought process was I don't really like automatic qualifiers because, look, we just talked about the NFL. How many times do we hate it when a team with a losing record wins a division in the NFL, but they get to host a home playoff game? But you were going to have to make all the commissioners happy. So, and at the time, we still had 5 Power 5 conferences. I said, okay, I guess you probably have to do a deal. If you did 8, all 5 conference champions get in. And if Notre Dame is okay or really good, they get in. So then you basically are looking, okay, we got 2 at-larges. Maybe a group of 5 can get in, and then whoever's one of those better teams. But then 12 is like, okay, and of course, we're getting that 5+7 format. And I'm telling you what, Jay, I don't get your thoughts. If I was Notre Dame, I'd be mad about this because, I mean, I know they had a say and they voted for the format they're going with, but Notre Dame could be the best team in the country.
Yeah.
The coming year. I don't think be, but let's just play if they were. Number 1 in all the rankings. It won't matter. because they're not in the conference. It's the 4 conference champions are going to be your top 4 seeds, and then Notre Dame is going to have to play 4 games to win a championship versus other teams they could be better than. Like I said, I don't think they'll be the best team in college football, but that's just an interesting. I'll say I think they're getting kind of screwed over.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. They are getting screwed over. And Phillip, one of my biggest pet peeves, it's not so much the expansion of the playoff because I knew it was going to happen eventually. Why in the world are we trying to give people that win their conference championship games a upper hand over teams that they are not better than?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're in the SEC, the Big Ten. I don't care what conference you're in. If you win your conference and you're clearly not the best team in the country, to me you don't, or one of the best teams in the country, to me you don't deserve a bye. I have always said, rank them like you always have, and then the top 12, you rank them 1 through 12. And if the top 3 are conference champions and the 4th is not, cool. That 4th one still gets a bye. Why? Because they're the 4th best team in the country. But for some reason, they believe you win that 13th game, you deserve that over somebody that didn't. Even if, Phillip, that one team that didn't play in the conference championship game, they could be 11-1. The conference champion could be 8-4, a la Kansas State a couple years ago. There was no playoff format back then as far as 12 teams, but I believe they were an 8-4 conference champion before, at the time. And I was like, wait, and they got here? It'd be weird, man. It would be very, very, very weird. It's also going to be weird, Phillip, when we get a team that has that's a 3-loss national champion. A 9, like it's still weird to me that it was a 10-2 LSU team that won the national championship over 10 plus years ago. But we're going to get a team 9-3. You want to see a big uproar? 8-4 in about 5. Yeah, I guarantee you it's going to be an 8-4 team that gets hot at the end of the year. All of a sudden, they win the national championship. They're like, wait, what happened? Oh, it's like the NCAA tournament. You can barely get in, get hot, get 6 wins in a row, and win the tournament. You could have had a really subpar season, but hey, you found a way to get in, and you won. 14 team, I don't care. Make it the 14th best teams in the country. To me, that puts a better product on the field, and it'll make you more money because there's more eyeballs watching the game. But Phillip, what do I know? What do we know? I know we're on the opposite sides of the expansion talk, which is fine. I don't really care. I respect people that don't agree with someone they're talking to, especially about this stuff. I respect you a lot for that. But if you're going to expand it, give me the 12 best teams, regardless of conference.
Yeah, no, I agree with that point because I'm like you said, okay, I'm just going to throw an example out there for you. And this may be hinting at who I think is going to be in the SEC championship game in 2024. Georgia and Texas. To me, going into the season, which this show is airing.
Quinn Ewers, huh?
Yeah, I think
guy
Georgia
that
Texas
used Ohio State to make $1 million. I'm just joking. I don't know if he really that was his reasoning for coming to Ohio State, but you know what I'm saying.
But look, and Alabama fans are going to get mad at me for saying this, but I think Georgia and Texas are the best 2 teams right now on paper going into 2024 season. So let's just say those 2 teams, and I do believe they play each other during the regular season. I don't have the schedule in front of me. This is just a thought. One of them is going to have 1 loss if they play each other. What if the one during the regular season loses? And then how do you justify that? Because then they split. It is, and we're going to get matchups if we keep the conference championship games. We're going to get repeat matchups of that. There's a chance you could have teams play 3 times in a year. But to your point, you could have an upset or have a situation where, okay, you have a 1-loss team that lost their conference championship game, particularly if it's from the SEC or the Big Ten, the 2 premier conferences in the country. They fall back to a 5 or 6, and then you could have a Big 12, or you could have an ACC champion that's not as good as that team that lost, but they got the bias. And I think you can get a team that goes on a run because look at it. After the first round, they're going to both sides. They're neutral. There's no more home field advantage. And I'm not a fan of that either. You know what I think they should have a neutral site when they get to the championship game? The rest of it should be on because then I think also everybody's worried about this diluting and diminishing the regular season. Well, if you say, okay, the best teams get home field advantage throughout the postseason, except when you get to the championship game, like we do with the Super Bowl, that's incentive to have a better record too, because you
Yes.
want to have all these games on campus at your home. Can't you imagine a early January game in Columbus or a game in Athens? The energy, like almost like a conference championship, like feel like we get
It
with
would
the
be
AFC and NFC.
insane.
It would be great. And please, I saw this when this first come out. People were talking about, well, we may have to move it to an NFL stadium if one of our teams. No. You find a way to play this mess on campus. You
That
just
was an
do it.
Ohio State athletic director. No, not Ann. It was the Ohio State athletic director. It was like, hey, well, with the playoff format, if we host a game, we'll move it to Indianapolis, which is 3 hours away because, well, weather and stuff. And I'm like, sir, do you know how dumb you sound right now? You play in one of the largest football stadiums in the country, but you want to move it to cut down on 40,000 seats because of weather? Do you think the team all that has been put together at Ohio State can't withstand some snow and some rain? If you can't, if you don't think they can, maybe the team needs to be put together a little bit better because you play in the Midwest. There are no dome stadiums in the Big Ten Conference. Not now. They may happen in down the road, but not now. That's stupid. I mean, I don't understand a lot of the stupidity in this sport. We love this sport, Phillip. We don't say we love a lot of things in life. We love this sport. And here we are talking about a format and a playoff that before things even get started, they're going to change it. It's not even broke. Like, the 12-team format isn't broke, but they're already trying to fix it before it potentially breaks, but they don't know if it's going to break. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
It's like fixing a brand new car before you even drove it. I mean,
Right?
you didn't need to. I mean,
Right.
it's fine. Let's drive it first and make sure it doesn't work. Then we'll work on some stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
We could probably jump on this topic all day. I will say this, and I will jump into Ohio State. It would be interesting to see an SEC team have to go up to Big Ten country in that weather because they're just not used to it. Except Missouri. Missouri would be probably the only team in the SEC equipped.
I mean, yeah, I'll give you that. I get
to deal with it.
Missouri, Kentucky. Missouri and Kentucky are those two. I'll make this quick though. You're talking about like teams from the South going up north. Could you imagine the Florida Gators having to come to Columbus? Let's just say it's second, third week of December. Dude, that would be wild. One, I don't know the last time the Gators have come to Columbus, if ever, so that's one thing there. But two, those Florida boys hitting that cold wind in December, they might not be ready for it. Not saying they're going to win, they're going to lose the game. Like, I have no idea, but like that wind hits different when it's 20 degrees outside.
Yeah, well, the way the Billy Napier program's going right now, I wouldn't be hedging my bets that they'll be in a situation to be up there. We may want to go with the Florida State Seminoles or Mike Norvell before we worry about Billy Napier.
They're not in the Southeastern Conference yet. Might be coming soon, but not yet.
Well, we'll table that for another time. I don't think they're ever going to be in the SEC, but we'll talk more about that off air down the road. I'll let you know why I think that.